This is a coalition of groups gathering to counteract what is being called a white supremacist rally that was set to take place inside Toronto's Kew Gardens today, but was later cancelled. I'm Faiza Amin in the beaches, where there's concern over what many say is the rise of racism here in Canada.
Today was a block party, a celebration of community, and really an opportunity to bring the East End neighborhood together against hate, against fascism, and against white supremacy.
A community showing in the neighborhood where an anti-Trudeau rally was set to take place today. Though it was called that by the organizers, many here say it's a white supremacist rally that sets a racist agenda. The man who was promoting the rally inside Kew Gardens today planned a similar one in Peterborough back in September, where there were moments of violence between two sides. He did not make an appearance back then, nor did he attend today, but many don't buy that these rallies are actually what they're promoted to be.
In our minds and in the minds of the community, you can rebrand yourself as many times as you want to and say what you think your message is, but if you have a swastika tattooed on your body, we know what your message is.
We all have been deeply disturbed by the open presence of neo-Nazis and white supremacists in the city of Toronto.
EastEnders Against Racism, one of the groups in attendance today, was formed 1 year ago as an organized response to racist posters found in and around neighborhoods. Their goal today, to combat fear, support groups that are oftentimes the targets of these rallies, and take back public spaces.
I remember white supremacists recruiting at my high school in the 90s in North York, but I'm horrified that it's become so public, and it's critical that we show that the community will not accept it.
They feed on fear, and the only way to combat that fear is to come together as a community and to show up.
This is the second rally organized in Toronto in less than 1 month. Back in October, there were clashes and arrests after one man organized what he called an anti-Trudeau rally on the steps of City Hall. Today, a less hostile environment where dozens of police and emergency crews stayed at bay as a safety precaution. But for many community members here, the threat of mobilization is still around, and they say there's a greater need to organize and denounce rallies like these.
I think that it unfortunately normalizes my son and I use this park all the time, and it normalizes for people here, the neighbors, the kids, that this is a part of the regular political discourse, and it's not. It's very dangerous, and it's something that we only hold at bay through our active efforts together.
In the last few months, we've seen several rallies that have raised concern over the rise of racism and white supremacy here in Canada. Dozens showed up at an anti-hate gathering today in Toronto's Kew Gardens. One of those in attendance is a professor who says hate rallies like the ones we've recently seen in Toronto and Peterborough are tactical in nature.
They're concerning because you've got far-right, white supremacist, and even neo-Nazi groups that are trying to claim legitimacy in our society. They're trying to project themselves as being a legitimate voice when in fact their agenda is one of hate and racism.
Mass movement against fascism.
He's a poli-sci professor who has been involved in anti-racism causes and movements dating back to the 70s.
I know that they've been holding rallies throughout the GTA and in Peterborough. So how are they communicating their rallies, and why is that a concern for you?
They draw people in by anti-Muslim fear, and they hope that in doing that they can then inculcate people further in their white supremacist belief system. And so what we're trying to do is to say, listen, they may be saying anti-Trudeau, and that's free speech after all, but what is the full agenda that they're trying to recruit people to once they get them to these events? We're trying to expose their real message and make it clear that don't listen to the anti-Trudeau stuff and believe that's all. There's a much more sinister agenda packed in there. Last week, for example, in this park here where we're standing, one of the far-right groups distributed little cards saying God is a racist. Okay? That's the message that they were trying to bring out. And it's very important to hold public rallies like this and to say the parks belong to those of us who welcome everybody. That's what public space is for. But we need to be doing so much more in terms of of outreach into communities, into schools, into workplaces.
The man who was behind today's canceled rally took to Twitter to say he has no plans to organize any further rallies for the next few months. In Toronto's Beaches neighborhood, I'm Faiza Amin for City News.